Hey there, I'm Coach Pete Cafarcio, and this is Dynamic Destiny. Hey, welcome to Dynamic Destiny. I'm Coach Pete. Hey, I'm so glad you made some time to join me today. And today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, blind spots. We're going to define that. We're going to give some examples. I've got some stories from my own life. And then we're going to go real practical and talk about what you can do about it. Okay. But first, we're going to start out with a quote for the day. The most common blind spot is believing others have them, but you don't. The most common blind spot is believing that others have them, but you don't. Oh, so true. So true. Okay. So, hey, we're going to talk about uncovering your blind spots and dealing with those. But first, let's define that. Okay. A simple definition is an area where a person's view is obstructed. An area where a person's view is obstructed. And you can think about that maybe if driving in a car, if you're using your side view mirrors, there's this one spot, if you're the driver, it's on the passenger side off the back passenger side wheel. A car, if you don't have your mirrors adjusted right, a car could be following you in that spot, especially if you're on a highway and you're cruising at the same speed, and you'll never see it. And if you don't know they're there, you could maybe shift lanes or something and cause an accident. Okay. It's called a blind spot because your mirrors aren't catching it. It's there. You just don't see it. Okay. Well, when we translate that into human behavior and we talk about emotional intelligence and self awareness, when we say blind spot, it's a behavior you're unaware of or you choose to ignore, and it often becomes habitual or normalized. I'll repeat that. It's a behavior you're unaware of or choose to ignore, and it often becomes habitual or normalized. Okay, this is the definition. I got to tell you a story about my own life, and it's a blind spot that I'd like to think I had it, but I probably still do have it. It's blind spot of interrupting. So let's back up a little bit and picture my family growing up. Okay, I'm from a large family, 10 people, 8 kids within 12 years of each other. And unlike maybe today, we always ate dinner sitting down at the table. In fact, we had so many people that we actually sat on benches. The kids sat on benches along either side of the table, and my parents had the chairs on the ends. And most people in my family are very lively, outgoing, type A-ish people. So dinner time was always lively, noisy, tossing around ideas, debates, arguments. And if you wanted to say something, you kind of had to defend your point. And you had to interrupt if you wanted to be heard because it was so noisy, especially if you met a couple of my siblings. I'm going to leave their names out right now, but they would just dominate the conversation. If you wanted to say something, you had to cut them off and get right in there and interrupt. It becomes normalized. And this is my whole childhood growing up, right? So it becomes indoctrinated in me. All right, fast forward into my adult life. And here I am interrupting people all the time and having a need to win arguments all the time. And especially at work, like around a conference table, like flash backwards, patterning after the dinner table. It's a conference table, a lot of people sitting around, and I'm gonna just kind of kick right in to my mode. And there's probably a positive side to that, as far as being assertive and letting your ideas be known, but it really can become offensive and annoying to other people if you cut them off. Okay. Hey, what are some examples for you? Right? There's other blind spots people have that can become really annoying, like making insensitive comments. Somebody who's a know-it-all. They always think, well, I know this, I know that. Some people always dodge conflicts. Whenever something's a little uncomfortable, they just constantly change the subject, and you can never really get traction or substance in your discussions. Blame shifting can be a blind spot. It's not my fault. There's another reason. There's an excuse. How about like hygiene habits or grooming, right? It's like, oh man, get a comb or like put some deodorant on. Or they could overdo it. They could go in the opposite direction, like too much perfume, right? Or uh, too much makeup if you're a girl, or just overdoing it. Another blind spot: showing up late for appointments all the time becomes a habit, becomes normalized, but it's annoying to other people. Gossiping can be a real blind spot, and there's ways to cover that up and make it sound like it's not blatant gossiping, but it is. And maybe always needing to be in the center of attention can be a blind spot in someone's behavior. Fill in the blank. Okay. Humans are so complex, and we have such a great ability to deceive ourselves. And, we're all broken in different ways, and we're all dysfunctional in different ways. And we're all on a journey to move forward and hopefully, improve. So, it could be anything. All right. So what's a blind spot that bugs you that you could wish you could tell the other person that is bothering you? The truth is, it's much easier to see blind spots in other people than in yourself. It's you can see accurately see other people's behavior a lot easier than you can see it in yourself. That's why it's called a blind spot. And guess what? They can see your behavior more clearly in you as well. That's just the nature of how it is. And so we have to learn how to get along and how to deal with these things. All right. So that's a blind spot. But the same dynamic is in play sometimes in the positive areas in your life as well. You can be blind to not just your annoying bad habits, you can be blind to your good, positive areas of talent and strength. Okay. Why? Well, because they come easy to you, they're normalized. And typically, you'll use them so often, it's just part of your day. You might tend to downplay the fact that you're exceptional. You might not realize that you're exceptional. So maybe if somebody compliments you, you might think, well, hey, that's no big deal. Anybody can do that. Well, that's a blind spot. Somebody's telling you, I really appreciate that. That's special. And he's like, well, no, it's not special. Anyone. It's a blind spot. You're not aware that you're actually strong. And that'll actually cause problems for you. If you keep living below your potential, you can get really frustrated. Okay. And I'm going to cover that in another podcast. The downside of not owning your strengths and your exceptional talents. So I want to get practical in this. What can you do about it? All right. This is part of the human condition. We all have blind spots. I might be missing out because I'm not embracing my strengths. I might be blind to my own strengths and talent. What can I do about that? Well, it's pretty straightforward. Is you need to ask other people. That's kind of the only way. Remember, other people can see you better than you can see yourself. So we got to ask them. Okay. We need other people's perspective to get a healthy view of ourselves. In corporate America, there is a tool that is leveraged for this. It's called a 360 review, meaning 360 degrees all the way around, a review. And it takes a lot of courage to do one of these. And what we do is we put like a leader or a manager in the center of this 360, and they send out a form to that person's superiors, that person's peers that they have to work with, and if they supervise anyone, people that report to them. They send out this survey. It's anonymous, and these people are going to rate the leader in question on all these different areas of performance and awareness and management and things, as well as some of these forms have free comment areas, so they can just say anything they want. And it's anonymous because we want people to be truthful about it. Okay, these also, there's real positive sides to this. There's some downsides too. They have to be managed well, or they could be used like a weapon. Not good. But it takes a lot of courage, you can imagine, for the manager or the leader to step up and say, okay, everybody, tell me what you think. Anonymous. And then that gets compiled. And the person who's like, it might be a coach or in human resources, who's managing the process, also has that leader evaluate themselves along these same metrics. And then when they average out who is saying what, and how are you scoring along these lines, we compare what the leader thinks about themselves to what everyone else is saying and look for areas of wide disconnect or a big gap. And if that's the case, then hey, here's what everybody else is saying. This is what you think about yourself. Reality check. And this is not easy, okay? But it's a great tool for personal growth. Well, what I did is I made a very simple mini version of that. Okay. So it's not anonymous, and it's not extensive, and it doesn't lay out all these predefined areas of performance. It's just simply a handout that you can use to send to your friends and just ask them, hey, what are 5 strengths that you see in me and 1 weakness? Okay. And I just made a pre-made format that you can send out to everyone. I actually produce this, and it's a free tool that you can get. You can download it off my website. Go to petecoaching.com, www.petecoaching.com/blindspot. petecoaching.com/blindspot. Just go there. It's a free download. There's a little video that explains it, and download the sheet and send it out to people. And there you go. You can get their feedback. And when you pull it all together, when you start to see trends and patterns across what the people who know you, what they're saying about you, it's like, oh boy, 3 people have all told me the same thing. And I wasn't valuing that their view of me is probably more accurate than the way I view myself. This is something I need to embrace and step up to. And why do we ask for the weakness? Well, sometimes a weakness also points to a strength that's overplayed. Okay. For instance, you might be really good at the weakness might say that you talk too much. Okay. Or you dominate conversations. Well, that could be a strength of good verbal communication, but it's being overplayed. And so it might, again, point to a strength, but you just have to tone it back a little bit. It's a self-awareness tool. This is actually the junior version of one of the modules in an online course that I produce called Decoding Your Destiny. And in that course, I give actually 7 different ways to uncover the clues in your life to clarify your life purpose. And this is one of those approaches that we take, is ask other people, because again, they can see us more accurately than we can see ourselves. Another exercise that you could try is simply to pay attention to compliments. Now, compliments are in most people's lives are coming at us fairly regularly, but we can miss those. And so the exercise is to write down every compliment that you hear for a month straight. You maybe want to do that on your phone with your notes application, or just keep a little separate paper. Write down every time someone compliments you over a month, and then look back and see if there's any patterns. If there are, you've just got another clue to a positive blind spot that you might be overlooking. While you're at it, you might as well train yourself to receive compliments. If you're the kind of person, when someone compliments you, you tend to deflect it, blow it off, or say, oh, that's no big deal. Instead, just say, thank you for that compliment. Thank you. I appreciate that. And just learn to receive it. Receive the love and build your self-esteem off that. Okay, well, it's time for the Make It Real challenge. Here comes the drum roll. Bang. Okay, Make It Real challenges. I just gave you 2 exercises. Pick one of them and commit to doing it. Either go get the blind spot download off my website and send that out to your friends, or start keeping a compliments log. If you get some insights from that, let me know by writing to me, askpete@petecoaching.com. All right. Well, we're going to go to a commercial now, and I'll be right back. Hi there, Coach Pete here, and I'm so excited to tell you about a new course that we just released, Decoding Your Destiny. Over the past 20 years, I've worked with hundreds of people to curate the very best tools that will help you get more clarity on your life purpose and calling. The course uses 8 very easy to follow short videos and online fillable worksheets that help you record your answers and capture new insights. you're sure to get greater clarity on your life purpose and know specifically how you can make the best difference in the world. Go to petecoaching.com and look for online courses. I can't wait for you to get greater clarity and understanding for your destiny. Well, today we've been talking about blind spots. What are they, how they work, and what you can do about it. Our quote for the day again is, the most common blind spot is believing that others have them, but you don't. Hey, this has been Dynamic Destiny with Coach Pete. Thanks for joining me. And remember, you really are God's gift to the world. We need you to be the best version of you that you can be. Bye-bye. Thank you, my friend, for joining me on this episode of Dynamic Destiny. As a reminder, you can get more free tools and downloads at petecoaching.com. Let's continue the discussion. Write to me with your questions and feedback. Ask Pete at petecoaching.com. Be sure to tell your friends, and please leave a 5-star podcast review. I can't wait to have you join me next time on Dynamic Destiny.